The first law of the galaxy: don't attack the human children, but Galactic Council broke it. The galaxy was quiet that day. The stars shone bright, and the planets moved in their silent orbits. In the council chamber, a huge room made of shining metal and floating lights, representatives from hundreds of species gathered. They were tall and short, slim and thick, some with scales, some with feathers, and some with skin like liquid metal. At the center of it all sat the council leader, a being named Zoran. Zoran's eyes glowed faintly as he spoke, and the entire chamber fell silent. "We meet today to discuss the first law of the galaxy," Zoran said, his voice deep and echoing. "The law states, do not attack the human children. This law is not a suggestion, it is absolute." Some of the council members whispered among themselves. They did not like humans. They thought humans were weak, small, and overly emotional. Many believed humans were a species that could be ignored. But every member knew the law. It had existed for centuries. It was written after humans had once lost millions of children in an ancient galactic war. The council had seen what happened when humans were pushed too far. Alan Brooks sat quietly at the human observation table. He was not a council member. He was a human observer sent to watch and report. He had brown hair, green eyes, and a calm face, but his mind was alert. He did not trust most of the alien council members. He had seen their eyes and the way they looked at humans. Many did not believe the law should be taken seriously. Far away, on a small human colony called Novara, children laughed and ran through the fields. The colony was simple but full of life. The children ran barefoot across green grass, chasing small flying drones their parents had built for fun. Ethan, a boy of 8, ran faster than the others. Lucas, a boy of 10, tried to catch him but tripped and fell. Lily, a girl with curly hair, helped Lucas up, while Mia, a quiet girl, watched from under a tree holding a small wooden toy. Parents looked on from the porch of their homes. John Carter smiled as he waved at his son, and Emma Lewis called out for the children to come back for lunch. The day was peaceful. It was a world where children could be safe. And for now, it seemed the first law had kept them safe. But not all species agreed. In a hidden sector far from Novara, a powerful alien faction called the Viewership believed humans were exaggerating. They called the first law a myth, a story to scare weaker species. The Viewership Council had their own plan. They believed that if humans' children were attacked, the humans would react, and it would be an opportunity to test their strength. In the council chamber, Zoran's voice continued. "The first law is clear. If any species attacks human children, they will face the full force of the galaxy. This law exists not to protect humans, but to protect the galaxy itself. Humans react in ways no other species can survive." Alan Brooks's eyes narrowed. He had heard similar words in the past, warnings ignored by other species. He wished he could warn the humans directly, but his position did not allow it. He had to report and wait, and in his heart, he knew that some council members would never obey the law if given the chance. As the meeting went on, the Viewership representative, a tall creature with shimmering skin named Kale, stood up. His voice was smooth but sharp. "Perhaps the humans are weak," Kale said. "Perhaps they will not react. The law has held for centuries, but we must ask ourselves, is it time to test it?" Murmurs filled the chamber. Some species agreed with Kale quietly. Others looked shocked. Zoran's eyes flashed. "The law is not a test," he said. "It is sacred. Do not speak of breaking it." Kale smiled faintly. He knew Zoran's warnings could not stop all of his plans. Outside the council chambers, he had fleets ready. Fleets designed to strike silently and quickly, and his target was clear: human children. On Novara, life went on. The sun moved slowly across the sky. Ethan and Lucas climbed the small hills near the colony. Lily and Mia followed, laughing softly. Parents worked in the fields, planting crops, fixing buildings, or checking the small machines that powered their homes. The colony was simple, but happiness was everywhere. Alan Brooks watched these children in his mind. He thought about how dangerous it would be if someone attacked them. Humans had strong instincts, but children were innocent. He hoped nothing would happen. He had no idea that fleets were already moving silently through the void, approaching Novara faster than anyone could see. As night fell, the sky over Novara turned deep blue. Stars twinkled and a soft wind blew across the fields. Children began heading home, tired from the day. Ethan carried Lucas's small backpack. Lily held Mia's hand, leading her along the dirt path. The parents greeted them, and for a moment everything seemed safe. But safety was an illusion. In the darkness beyond the colony, ships appeared. They were black and sharp, moving with precision. The Virath fleet had arrived. No alarm sounded. No one saw the ships until they were close. Their weapons glowed faintly, ready to strike. Alan Brooks felt a sudden chill. His communication device buzzed with a single alert. He read the message. Unauthorized fleet entering human space. Children at risk. His heart raced. He tried to contact Novara, but the signal was weak. By the time the warning reached the colony, the alien ships were already in orbit. At first, the children thought it was a game. Drones and machines often flew in the night sky. Ethan pointed to the lights. "Look, another drone," he shouted. Lucas looked up and frowned. Something felt wrong. Lily pulled Mia closer. "This doesn't look like the drones we know," she whispered. John Carter and Emma Lewis saw the ships too. John ran to the control room of the colony, a small room with communications and defense systems. He tried to send a warning, but the screens flickered. Emma gathered the children. "Stay close. Stay calm," she said. Her voice was firm, but fear was in her eyes. The alien fleet opened fire. The first beam struck near the edges of the colony. Buildings shook. Lights went out. Children screamed and parents shouted instructions. Ethan grabbed Lucas's hand. "Run," he yelled. They ran toward the hills, away from the beams of light. Lily pulled Mia behind a rock. John fired the colony's small defenses, but his weapons barely scratched the alien shields. Alan Brooks's heart sank. He had seen the first law broken. It was happening before his eyes. He tried again to reach the council through his secure channel. "The law has been broken," he said. "Human children are under attack. Send help now." The council responded slowly. Some members were shocked. Some debated. Some, like Kale, smiled faintly. The Virath representative did not hide his satisfaction. He believed humans would panic, would surrender, and that their reputation as fierce defenders was exaggerated. But he underestimated humans. Even as buildings were destroyed and families scattered, human parents and older teenagers took up whatever weapons they could find. They created barriers, led children through hidden tunnels, and shouted warnings. Ethan, Lucas, Lily, and Mia followed their parents' instructions, running through dark paths, climbing small hills, and hiding in caves they knew from play. Alan watched, horrified and amazed. Humans were reacting, but differently than the aliens expected. They were not panicked. They were organized. Every parent and adult seemed to know their role. Every child was guided. The aliens were surprised. Their calculated attack was not working as they had planned. The night stretched long. Beams of alien light moved across Novara. Smoke rose from damaged buildings. Fires burned. Yet in the shadows, children were safe, hidden by human ingenuity and courage. Ethan crouched behind a rock, breathing heavily. Lucas shivered beside him. Lily whispered to Mia, "We will get through this." Alan Brooks felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. The first law had been broken. The humans had been tested in the worst way possible. He knew what would come next. Humans were strong, and they were only beginning to react. In the darkness above, the alien ships waited, thinking the humans would surrender. But humans do not surrender when their children are in danger. And Alan knew that once humans decided to act, the galaxy would never be the same again. The first night of attack ended, but it was only the beginning. Children were alive, parents were determined, and somewhere the human fleet began moving, preparing for what the council had broken. Alan Brooks stared at the stars, knowing the quiet before the storm was over. The galaxy had made a mistake. It had broken the first law, and humans never forgot such things. The morning on Novara was quiet, but it was a tense quiet. Smoke rose from the edges of the colony, and fires burned in places where alien beams had struck the night before. Parents moved quickly, gathering children and checking homes for damage. Ethan and Lucas huddled together with Lily and Mia, their small hands trembling but holding tightly onto each other. John Carter walked among the ruins, shouting instructions. "Get the children to the shelter. Move fast but stay calm." Emma Lewis helped carry supplies and guided the younger kids. Parents worked as a single unit. Even in fear, humans organized themselves. Alan Brooks was in orbit above Novara, watching the scene unfold from his observation ship. He could see alien ships still hovering silently, waiting for humans to falter. He tapped his communicator rapidly. "The council must respond," he said. "The first law has been broken. Human children are in direct danger." On the council homeworld, deliberations were slow. Some members argued over what to do. Others, like Kale, smiled confidently. "They will panic," Kale said. "Humans are not capable of handling this. They will collapse." But Alan knew the truth. Humans were capable of far more than the aliens understood. He could see it in the children, in the parents, and in the colony's defense attempts. The humans were not panicking. They were planning. In the colony, parents and older teenagers worked quickly. They created barriers from rubble, dug small trenches, and moved children to hidden caves they had discovered long ago. Ethan and Lucas helped carry small supplies. Lily and Mia stayed close, following every instruction. The adults were calm, but every eye watched the sky, waiting for the next strike. The alien fleet began its attack again. This time, it was more precise. Beams cut through the outer fields, destroying crops and small buildings. Alien landing pods touched down at the edges of the colony. Soldiers in strange armor moved quickly toward the center, looking for children. John Carter raised his rifle, aiming at the closest alien. It was not much, just a small weapon not designed to pierce alien shields, but he fired anyway. The beam glanced off the alien armor. Nearby, another parent threw a small explosive, hitting a landing pod. It wobbled, then crashed into a rock, scattering soldiers. Alan watched from orbit, his eyes wide. The humans were fighting back, but carefully. They were not seeking revenge. They were protecting the children. He tapped his communicator again. "Novara is holding," he said. "They are resisting, but barely. The aliens are stronger in firepower, but the humans are smarter." Inside the colony, Ethan and Lucas ran through the caves with Lily and Mia. Their parents followed closely. Smoke filled the tunnels, but the children were safe for the moment. "We have to keep moving," Emma whispered. "They are looking for us." The aliens were frustrated. They expected humans to panic and scatter. Instead, humans moved as one unit, always protecting the children. Some alien soldiers began to question their orders. "Why are they still fighting?" one said. "They should be collapsing." Kale's smile disappeared slightly. He had underestimated humans. The aliens had planned a test, thinking that one colony would fall quickly. Now they saw humans adapt, improvise, and fight back even with fewer resources. Alan tapped his communicator again. He reached a human signal network for the first time. "Novara," he said urgently. "Prepare for evacuation. Reinforcements are coming. The fleet is moving." On the surface, John Carter heard the message. "We are not alone," he said, relief and determination in his voice. Parents looked at each other and nodded. They had hope. Even small hope was enough. The human fleet was already moving in the outer systems. Captain Daniel Ross led a group of warships, and Commander Kate Miller coordinated civilian rescue operations. Their movements were fast and quiet. No announcements were made, no warnings to the council. They had learned the lesson: humans act and humans do not wait. Alan watched as the first human ships entered combat range. Small missile launchers fired from Novara's colonies toward the alien fleet, not to destroy them but to delay them. Each strike was carefully aimed, avoiding the children and families. Aliens fired back, but their attacks were clumsy against human tactics. Humans were not reckless, they were precise. Ethan peeked out from the caves. He saw beams of light and smoke in the sky. Lucas held his hand tightly. Lily whispered to Mia, "We have to stay brave. Adults are protecting us." The children began to understand in small ways that humans could defend themselves even in impossible situations. In orbit, Alan Brooks could see alien ships falling. Some were destroyed by human weapons, others were forced to retreat. The humans' response was faster than expected. Alien commanders began arguing among themselves. They had underestimated the speed, intelligence, and courage of humans. On the ground, John Carter and Emma Lewis led children and adults to a hidden bunker system. Tunnels ran deep under the colony. Fires and explosions echoed above, but the children were safe. Ethan and Lucas carried water and blankets. Lily and Mia helped younger kids. They all worked together. "We cannot let them take our children," John said, his voice strong. "We will fight with everything we have," Emma nodded. "And we will protect every child here. No one will be left behind." The alien fleet tried again, this time targeting specific buildings. They believed the colony's defenses were weak. They did not know humans had already moved key assets and children to safer locations. Missiles and beams struck empty fields. The aliens had no idea how adaptable humans could be. Alan Brooks watched in awe. Humans had learned fast. They had turned panic into strategy. The children were safe, but the colony still had damage. Smoke rose in thick clouds and fires burned. Yet the humans' courage was unbroken. In the council chamber, panic began to grow. Reports from Alan came in rapidly. "The humans are fighting back," he said. "They are stronger than we believed. They are saving their children." Kale's confidence faltered. He had believed humans would crumble. Instead, they were acting with intelligence and bravery. The Virath faction began to argue with each other. Some wanted to retreat, others wanted to continue the attack, hoping the humans would eventually fail. Back on Novara, Ethan and Lucas reached a large underground hall with other children. Parents worked quickly, giving instructions and helping everyone find shelter. Lily and Mia sat quietly, listening to the adults' plans. They understood fear, but they also saw hope. Humans did not panic. Humans acted. Alan tapped his communicator again. "Reinforcements are close," he said. "Human fleets are arriving to support Novara. The Council must act, or they will lose control of this situation." As human ships entered orbit, their numbers surprised the aliens. Captain Daniel Ross led the first fleet, firing carefully to disable alien ships without harming Novara. Commander Kate Miller coordinated civilians to escape damaged areas. The aliens did not expect such organized resistance. Ethan watched the fleet arrive. He could not understand the details, but he felt the change in the air. The aliens were being pushed back. Lucas smiled faintly. Lily whispered to Mia, "See, we are safe for now." John Carter looked at the sky. The humans had done more than defend the colony. They had shown the aliens that breaking the first law was a mistake. He knew the fight was far from over, but he also knew humans had the courage to protect their children no matter what. Alan Brooks sighed. He had never felt more proud or more afraid. Proud of what humans could do, afraid of what they might do next. The first law had been broken, but humans were alive and they would act. The day ended with Novara still standing, children safe, and humans prepared for the next moves. Alien forces had underestimated human strength, intelligence, and determination. They believed a small attack could test humans, but humans had already shown that protecting their children was worth every risk. Alan watched the sky, thinking about what would come next. The Council had made a mistake, and humans had already begun to respond. Novara was only the beginning. Once humans decided to act, the galaxy would feel their power. And the aliens who had broken the first law had only begun to see the consequences. Humans never forgot such actions. Humans never forgave easily, and most of all, humans always protected their children. The day passed. Night came again. Fires burned out slowly. Humans regrouped. Aliens retreated for now, surprised and shaken. Children slept in hidden tunnels, safe in the arms of their parents. Ethan, Lucas, Lily, and Mia rested, unaware of the larger plans their species was making above the colony. Alan Brooks closed his eyes for a moment. He had reported to the Council, he had warned them, and he had watched the humans defend themselves with bravery and intelligence. He knew the next phase would be bigger. The Council had broken the law, and humans would respond. The first night of the attack had ended, but the first full day of human response had begun. Novara was safe for now, and humans had shown that no force could break them when their children were in danger. And in the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Humans were not weak. Humans were fierce, organized, and unstoppable when protecting their young. The aliens had learned a hard lesson. The first law was sacred for a reason, and humans would remind everyone why it existed. The humans did not wait. As Novara's children were safe in underground shelters, human fleets moved quietly through space. Captain Daniel Ross led the first strike group. His ships were smaller than the alien vessels, but they were fast and precise. Every crew member knew the mission: protect the children, stop the attackers, and show the galaxy that humans could not be tested lightly. Commander Kate Miller coordinated communication between the fleets and the colonies. Civilians were guided to safe zones, and emergency evacuations continued for damaged colonies. The aliens had believed humans would panic, but humans acted calmly, quickly, and decisively. Alan Brooks observed the situation from orbit above Novara. He could see the alien fleets retreating slightly, surprised by the human speed and intelligence. He tapped his communicator. "The humans are no longer defending," he said. "They are going on the attack." The aliens had broken the first law. They had targeted human children, expecting to scare humans into submission. But humans did not submit. They never did. And now they were retaliating, not recklessly but with careful strategy. On Novara, John Carter and Emma Lewis led the children through hidden tunnels. Ethan and Lucas carried supplies, while Lily and Mia helped younger kids. The colony was badly damaged, but no child was left behind. Parents worked together, forming small groups to clear paths and fight off alien scouts that had landed unnoticed. The aliens were shocked. Their calculations had assumed humans would collapse under pressure. Instead, humans adapted, learned quickly, and acted as one. Alien soldiers began arguing with their commanders. "They are everywhere," one shouted. "How can humans fight like this?" Alan tapped his communicator again. "The humans are targeting command ships," he said. "They are not attacking civilians or colonies. They are precise." This is different from any battle in recorded history. In deep space, human strike ships approached the alien forward base. Captain Daniel Ross gave the orders calmly. "Disable their defenses first," he said. "Do not destroy their ships unless necessary. Our goal is to stop them from harming any more children." The first missiles were fired. They moved quickly, targeting the alien shields and engines, not the crew quarters. The aliens were unprepared for such careful tactics. Explosions rocked their ships, and many had to retreat. Humans did not celebrate. They continued to move forward, always with the children's safety in mind. On Novara, Ethan and Lucas watched the sky from a small tunnel window. Beams of light flashed across space as human missiles struck the alien fleet. "They are winning," Ethan whispered. Lucas nodded, gripping his brother's hand. Lily and Mia stayed close, eyes wide. Parents guided them to deeper shelters, keeping the children calm. The aliens realized their mistake. Kale, the Virath commander, was furious. He had underestimated humans. "How can this be?" he shouted at his officers. "We struck their children. We should have crushed them. Why are they so strong?" Alan Brooks shook his head. Humans were always stronger than aliens believed. They had survived impossible wars in the past, adapted quickly, and protected their own. Breaking the first law had awakened something the aliens could not control. Human ships moved from colony to colony, disabling alien outposts and rescuing civilians. Commander Kate Miller coordinated evacuation routes. Children and parents were brought aboard transport ships, and damaged colonies received supplies for rebuilding. Humans were careful, never leaving anyone behind. John Carter and Emma Lewis returned to the colony's surface after ensuring the children were safe. They saw the alien ships retreating. Their hearts were still pounding, but they felt a small surge of hope. Humans had survived the first attack, and now the aliens were on the defensive. Alan Brooks watched the fleets continue. "They are moving faster than anyone thought possible," he said. "Their strikes are surgical. The aliens cannot keep up." In orbit above the alien forward base, Captain Daniel Ross and his crew prepared for the final attack. They did not aim to destroy everything. Humans did not seek revenge. Their goal was to stop the aliens from harming children again. Every action was measured, precise, and careful. The aliens tried to respond, but humans had already adapted. They predicted alien maneuvers, cut off supply lines, and disabled key systems. In many ways, the aliens were fighting blind. Humans moved faster, smarter, and with a single purpose. On Novara, children slept safely underground while their parents and older teenagers guided the remaining civilians to transport ships. Ethan, Lucas, Lily, and Mia lay side by side, listening to the hum of engines above. They did not understand the full battle, but they felt safe. Human parents had kept their promise. No child would be harmed. Alan Brooks contacted the council again. "The humans are not only defending," he said, "they are taking control. The aliens who broke the first law are losing. The council must intervene or they will lose authority over the galaxy." Kale's face twisted in anger. He had thought humans would panic and surrender. He had believed the first law was a story to scare weaker species. Now he saw the truth. Humans were never weak, and they never forgot when their children were attacked. The council debated. Some wanted to support the aliens, thinking humans would eventually tire. Others realized the danger. Humans were unstoppable when protecting their young. The first law had been broken, and humans were enforcing it in ways the council could not stop. Human strike ships moved closer to the alien command fleet. Captain Daniel Ross gave the orders calmly. "Prepare boarding parties if necessary," he said. "Disable their weapons first. Rescue any prisoners, protect the innocent." Alan Brooks watched the alien command fleet begin to crumble. Engines exploded, shields fell, and ships retreated in disarray. Humans were precise, careful, and merciless in defense. They did not kill unnecessarily, but they would not allow attacks on children to continue. On Novara, parents and children were finally safe aboard transport ships. Ethan looked out at the stars, seeing the battle above. Lucas gripped his brother's hand. "Are they really winning?" he asked. John Carter nodded. "Yes," he said. "Humans are always stronger than they seem." The aliens began to understand. Breaking the first law had been a mistake of the highest order. Humans had adapted, learned quickly, and fought back with intelligence and precision. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Alan Brooks reported every detail. "Humans have regained control," he said. "They are rescuing children, protecting colonies, and disabling alien fleets. This is more than a battle. It is a warning to the galaxy. Humans cannot be tested when their children are in danger." In orbit above the alien command fleet, Captain Daniel Ross gave one final order. "Disable all weapon systems. ensure no civilian casualties. Humans will not destroy unnecessarily. They will act only to protect the innocent. The aliens had no choice. They were being pushed back at every turn. Their attack had failed and their strategy was broken. They had learned a simple but important truth. Humans protect their children with every ounce of strength they have. On Novara, the children played quietly in the transport ships. Ethan and Lucas helped sort supplies. Lily and Mia watched from the windows, seeing the stars and the distant flashes of battle. They did not understand the full war, but they knew one thing: humans would always protect children. Alan Brooks sighed. The first human counterattack had succeeded. The aliens were retreating, the colonies were safe, and humans had shown the galaxy their strength. But he knew this was only the beginning. Humans would not stop until the Council understood the consequences of breaking the first law. The day ended, but the humans' message was clear. Protect the children, and humans will fight with everything they have. Break that law, and the entire galaxy will feel the consequences. And above all, humans were calm, precise, and brave. The aliens had been wrong to test them. The first law had been broken, and humans had taken control. The galaxy would never forget the day humans acted to defend their children. Alan Brooks looked at the stars one last time that night. Humans had struck first, fought wisely, and protected every child they could. The aliens had underestimated them, and the humans had already begun shaping the future of the galaxy. Novara and other colonies were safe, but the humans' true power was only beginning to show. Once they decided to enforce the first law, nothing could stop them. And so the humans acted, not recklessly, not cruelly, but with purpose, intelligence, and a strength the galaxy had never seen before. The first law had been broken, and humans had begun their answer. The galaxy was in shock. News of the human counterattack spread quickly. Colonies that had once doubted humans now watched in awe. Alien fleets that had attacked were crippled, retreating to regroup, and the Council trembled. They had broken the first law, and humans had responded with speed, precision, and unmatched determination. Alan Brooks floated in orbit above the Novara system, watching human fleets move like a single organism. Small ships darted in and out, rescuing survivors, repairing damaged stations, and blocking retreating alien forces. He tapped his communicator urgently. "The humans are advancing on the Council's homeworld," he said. "They are not attacking civilians. They are moving to stop further attacks on children. The first law must be respected, or humans will take matters into their own hands." On Novara, John Carter and Emma Lewis helped children settle into temporary shelters aboard transport ships. Ethan and Lucas carried blankets and water, while Lily and Mia guided younger kids to quiet corners. Parents worked together, checking supplies and making plans. The humans had survived the first attack. Now they were ready to face the Council directly. In the Council chamber, panic spread. Zoran, the Council leader, watched reports come in. Alien fleets had been destroyed or scattered. Human strike ships were moving faster than expected. Commanders across the galaxy were reporting back. Humans were precise, intelligent, and unstoppable when children were involved. Kale, the Virath commander who had initiated the attack, paced angrily. "They are too strong," he shouted. "Our weapons, our fleets, everything we planned is useless. How can humans fight like this?" One council member, a quiet being with translucent skin named Lyra, spoke carefully. "It is not just strength," she said. "Humans are protecting their children. That is why they are unbeatable. We have ignored the first law for centuries, and now we see why it exists. Breaking it was a grave mistake." Alan Brooks leaned forward. He had spent decades studying humans, and he knew the truth. The first law was not a threat. It was a warning. Humans would never forget what was done to their children. Once that line was crossed, there was no going back. On Novara, parents explained the history to children in simple words. "Humans have always protected their young," Emma Lewis said. Even when things seemed impossible, we never let our children be hurt. Today is no different. We fight to protect you, and we will always succeed together." Ethan and Lucas listened carefully. They could feel the importance of what their parents were saying. They did not understand all the politics or the fleets, but they knew one truth: humans did not surrender when children were in danger. Far from Novara, human fleets moved toward the council system. Captain Daniel Ross gave orders calmly. "Disable all weapon systems that threaten civilians or children," he said. "We are not here for revenge. We are here to make sure no child is ever harmed again." Commander Kate Miller coordinated communications across human colonies. Signals were sent to damaged colonies to ensure children were safe, and fleets were guided to block alien reinforcements. Humans were moving like one mind, focused entirely on protection. Alan Brooks watched the council. Some members began to argue. Some wanted to surrender and negotiate. Others, including Kale, were stubborn, believing humans could be beaten. But every report from the field told the same story. Humans were unstoppable when their children were in danger. In one small corner of the council archives, old records were being reviewed. A librarian named Myron opened a dusty file. The history revealed why the first law existed. Centuries ago, humans had lost millions of children in a galaxy-wide war. Their enemies had underestimated them, believing humans would surrender. But humans had fought back, and entire civilizations had been destroyed in their revenge. The librarian gasped as she read the accounts. "This explains everything," she whispered. "The first law was made to protect the galaxy, not humans. If humans' children are attacked, they will act with total force. That is why the law exists." Alan Brooks received a message from Captain Daniel Ross. "We are entering council space," it said. "Prepare for negotiations if possible, but be ready to act if children are threatened. The first law will be enforced." On Novara, parents guided the last groups of children to transport ships. Ethan, Lucas, Lily, and Mia helped carry supplies. The children were calm, knowing they were protected. Humans had proven they would fight with intelligence and courage, and the aliens had already seen their power. In orbit above the council homeworld, human fleets moved steadily. Captain Daniel Ross gave careful orders. Strike ships disabled alien defenses, transport ships carried civilians to safety, and smaller teams rescued prisoners held in council jails. The humans acted not recklessly but with precision. Every action had a purpose. Alan Brooks reported to the council. "The humans have learned the history of the first law," he said. "They understand what the council did, and they are responding. If any child is harmed, humans will take action far beyond anything the galaxy has seen." Zoran's hands shook. The council had underestimated humans for centuries. They thought humans were weak, small, and emotional. Now they saw the truth. Humans were not only strong and smart, they were relentless when protecting their children. In the council chamber, debate raged. Some species wanted to surrender and apologize, others wanted to fight. Kale remained stubborn. "We can still stop them," he said. "We have numbers, technology, everything. Humans cannot defeat us all." Alan shook his head. "They can," he said. "If their children are harmed, humans will fight with everything they have. They will adapt faster than you can imagine. They will protect their children at any cost." On the ground at Novara, parents told children about the history. "Long ago, humans fought a war that destroyed worlds," John Carter said. "They did not fight for revenge alone. They fought to protect their children. That is why the first law exists. Now you see why humans cannot be tested." Ethan looked at Lucas. "So humans are really strong?" he asked. Lucas nodded. "Very strong," he said. Lily and Mia listened quietly, understanding that the adults were saying something very important. Human fleets surrounded the council homeworld. Captain Daniel Ross gave a final order. "We are here to enforce the first law. No child will be harmed. Disable any weapons that threaten civilians. Protect all innocents." Alan watched as alien ships tried to counterattack. Every move was anticipated. Human fleets disabled engines, blocked supply lines, and protected transport ships carrying children. The aliens could not keep up. Humans were precise, careful, and unstoppable. In the council chamber, Zoran realized the truth. The first law was sacred for a reason. Attacking human children was a mistake beyond repair. The humans had already learned the history. They had seen the records, understood the law, and now they were enforcing it. Kale's face twisted in anger. He had underestimated humans, and now he saw the consequences. Fleets were destroyed, command centers disabled, and transport ships carrying civilians were safe. Humans acted with intelligence, courage, and a single purpose: protect children. Alan tapped his communicator. The council must surrender or face total human enforcement of the first law, he said. There is no alternative. Humans will act if children are harmed. They always have and they always will. On Novara, parents and children rested after the long day. Ethan and Lucas helped carry water and blankets. Lily and Mia guided younger children to quiet areas. They felt safe. Humans had proven their strength. They had shown the galaxy that no child would ever be left unprotected. The council had no choice. Zoran called an emergency vote. Alien representatives debated, but the evidence was clear. Humans were stronger than any of them had imagined. They had survived attacks, rescued children, and disabled fleets. The first law had to be respected, or humans would continue their enforcement. Alan Brooks watched the vote with quiet relief. Humans had acted carefully, protecting children while demonstrating their power. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would never be forgotten. Humans were not weak, humans were precise, and humans would fight to protect their young. In the council chamber, Zoran spoke. We acknowledge the humans' power. The first law will be respected. No child in the galaxy shall be harmed. Humans have enforced this law, and the council will follow it from now on. Alan Brooks allowed himself a small smile. Humans had not sought revenge. They had acted with intelligence, courage, and determination. The first law had been broken, but humans had reminded the galaxy why it existed. On Novara, parents hugged their children. Ethan, Lucas, Lily, and Mia smiled faintly. They did not fully understand the politics or fleets, but they knew humans had protected them. They had seen the adults act with courage. They had survived, and humans had shown the galaxy that children were never to be harmed. Alan Brooks looked at the stars. The humans had won without needless destruction. They had enforced the law, protected the innocent, and taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The first law had been broken, but humans had set the record straight. The galaxy now knew the truth. Harm human children, and humanity will respond with unmatched strength, intelligence, and courage. And so the humans prepared for the next day, the next challenge, knowing they had reminded the galaxy of one simple truth. Children were never to be harmed, and humans would always protect them. The galaxy was quiet, but tense. The alien fleets had retreated, the council had acknowledged their mistake, and human fleets patrolled key systems. Children from Novara and other colonies were safe. Humans had enforced the first law, and the message had spread across the stars. No child was ever to be harmed, and humanity would act without hesitation if the law was broken. Alan Brooks watched from orbit above the council homeworld. He had spent decades studying humans, but even he was amazed at what they had achieved. Humans had defended children, rescued civilians, disabled fleets, and forced the council to recognize the truth. And they had done it all without unnecessary cruelty. Captain Daniel Ross gathered his fleet near the council planet. He looked at the maps, the reports, and the glowing screens showing alien defenses still intact but weakened. He spoke calmly to his officers. Our mission is clear, he said. We are not here to destroy. We are here to enforce the first law, protect children, protect civilians, and stop any attack on the innocent. Nothing else matters. Commander Kate Miller coordinated rescue operations across the system. Transport ships carried children and families from damaged colonies. Fleets blocked reinforcements from reaching the Council homeworld. Humans acted with precision and care, never leaving anyone behind. Every move was calculated, every strike measured. On Novara, parents and children watched the skies. Ethan and Lucas helped carry supplies, while Lily and Mia guided younger kids to safe areas. John Carter and Emma Lewis checked every corner of the colony, ensuring no child was left in danger. The humans had survived the initial attack, and now they were taking control. In the council chamber, Zoran called an emergency meeting. Alien representatives argued, but the reports were clear. Human fleets were everywhere, precise, careful, and unstoppable when children were at risk. Some representatives wanted to fight, others begged for mercy. All new humans would not allow another attack on children. Alan Brooks spoke softly into his communicator. Humans will not negotiate endlessly, he said. They act when necessary. The first law is not a suggestion. It is a rule the galaxy must obey. They will enforce it. Outside the council chambers, human strike ships disabled alien weapons carefully. No civilians were harmed. Human boarding teams rescued prisoners, including children who had been taken from colonies. The aliens realized quickly that humans were not there to punish them for revenge. Humans were there to protect the innocent and enforce the first law. Kale, the Virath commander, watched his fleets being systematically disabled. He had expected panic, fear, and surrender from humans. Instead, he saw strategy, courage, and precision. Humans adapted faster than he could imagine. They saved civilians, disabled weapons, and advanced steadily toward the Council homeworld. Alan tapped his communicator. "The Council must comply," he said. "Humans have already proven their power. No child can be harmed. The first law is now being enforced, and it will not be broken again." On Novara, parents gathered children and spoke quietly about what had happened. "Humans have always protected children," John Carter said. "We act when danger comes. We do not attack unnecessarily, but we will defend our young with all we have. Today, the galaxy has seen that." Ethan and Lucas listened carefully. They did not fully understand fleets or councils, but they understood the adults' words. Humans protect children. Humans act quickly. Humans never forget when harm comes to the young. Lily and Mia nodded quietly. They felt safe because humans had proven their promise. Captain Daniel Ross addressed his fleet. "We will secure this system," he said. "All alien weapons threatening civilians are disabled. Transport ships carrying children are safe. Once the Council complies, we will leave civilians unharmed. We act only to enforce the first law." Alan Brooks watched as human boarding teams entered Council stations. They rescued imprisoned children, helped alien civilians trapped in damaged facilities, and ensured that no innocent life was threatened. Every action showed discipline, intelligence, and care. The humans were precise, and the galaxy was beginning to understand the full meaning of their power. In the council chamber, Zoran finally spoke. "We recognize the humans' power," he said. "We accept the enforcement of the first law. No child in the galaxy shall be harmed. Humans have proven why the law exists. We will obey it from now on." Kale looked away, his pride broken. He had tested humans, attacked children, and failed. The humans had acted not with cruelty, not with anger, but with intelligence and courage. They had enforced the law. Kale realized the full truth. Humans would never allow harm to come to their children, and no force could stop them. Alan Brooks allowed himself a small smile. Humans had acted wisely. They had enforced the first law, rescued civilians, disabled alien fleets, and forced the Council to recognize the rule that protected children. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. On Novara, children slept in transport ships, safe in their parents' care. Ethan and Lucas lay quietly, still excited from the day's events. Lily and Mia watched the stars, feeling calm for the first time since the attack began. Parents hugged their children, knowing that humans had fulfilled their promise. John Carter spoke to Emma Lewis quietly. "We have shown them," he said. "Humans do not surrender when children are in danger. We act carefully but with strength. The galaxy will remember this." Alan Brooks reported to the humans in orbit. "Mission complete," he said. "All children are safe. Council compliance is confirmed. Humans have enforced the first law without unnecessary destruction. The galaxy knows your strength." Captain Daniel Ross smiled faintly. "We have acted as humans always do," he said. "We protect the innocent, enforce the law, and act with intelligence. The Council understands now. Nothing more needs to be done except ensure all systems are safe." Commander Kate Miller coordinated final evacuations and medical care. Children were guided to safe areas. Families were reunited. Transport ships returned to colonies, carrying those rescued from danger. Humans acted like a single organism, moving carefully, precisely, and efficiently. On the Council homeworld, Zoran addressed all alien species. "We have broken the first law," he said. "Humans have enforced it. From now on, no child will be harmed. Humans have shown wisdom, courage, and power. The galaxy will obey this law, and humans will ensure it is never broken again." Alan Brooks observed quietly. The humans had achieved something no one had thought possible. They had enforced a law peacefully, rescued children, disabled weapons, and reshaped the Council's understanding of power, all without unnecessary violence. Ethan and Lucas helped their parents carry supplies to temporary shelters. Lily and Mia guided younger children to quiet corners. All over the galaxy, children were safe, families were reunited, and the humans' message was clear: harm children, and humanity will act with unmatched courage and intelligence. Captain Daniel Ross gave his final orders. "Return all civilians to safe locations," he said. "Maintain patrols until the Council confirms compliance. Human forces will withdraw once all children are safe. The first law is now enforced permanently." Alan Brooks allowed himself a deep breath. Humans had won not by war alone, but by protecting the innocent, acting intelligently, and enforcing a law that had been ignored for centuries. The galaxy had learned the truth. Humans were strong, precise, and unstoppable when their children were threatened. On Novara, parents hugged their children. Ethan and Lucas smiled faintly. Lily and Mia whispered to each other quietly. They had survived, and they knew humans would always protect children. John Carter and Emma Lewis looked at each other with relief. The long fight was over, and humans had won without unnecessary destruction. Alan Brooks looked at the stars. The humans had enforced the first law, protected the innocent, and reshaped the galaxy. The Council would obey, alien fleets would retreat, and humans had reminded everyone of one simple truth: children were never to be harmed, and humanity would always respond with unmatched strength and courage. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans were precise, intelligent, brave, and unstoppable when protecting their children. The first law had been broken, but humans had enforced it and ensured it would never be broken again. And as the fleets returned to human space, as children slept safely, and as parents held their families close, one truth was clear: humans did not threaten for power or revenge. They acted to protect the innocent, enforce justice, and preserve the future. The first law of the galaxy had been tested, broken, and finally enforced. The Council had learned its lesson. Humans had shown their courage, intelligence, and care. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. And the children, safe and unharmed, were the reason the galaxy had survived. Humans had acted. Humans had won. And the first law would never be broken again.